Lords and ladies of the court, the civil war which has plagued us is at an end. The Orlesian Empire is whole again. Those who drove us into war for selfish gain have been dealt with as traitors. Gaspard de Chalon is guilty of treason. He is no longer our cousin, and shall never again hold title or land in Orlais. We have lost enough. No more! Now, we can move forward to healing and restoration. In our hour of need, the Inquisition has faced these dangers beside us. It is the honor of Orlais to stand with Andraste's herald to end this crisis. And in ages to come, our children and grandchildren can say that we left them a brighter world. Will you address the court, my friend?
Ending the war was the first step. Our final goal must be peace for all Thedas.
Well said, Inquisitor. We of the court must use our resources. Not every battle is won on the field. But that is tomorrow. Tonight, feast, my friends. Enjoy our victory. There will be many more to come.
The Orlesian nobility make drunken toasts to your victory, and yet you are not present to hear them. Do you tire so quickly of their congratulations, Inquisitor? 'Tis most fickle, after all your efforts on their behalf.
I would have stayed, but the punch ran dry. Scandalous.
Indeed. Let us see if you take this piece of news as poorly. By imperial decree, I have been named liaison to the Inquisition. Celine wishes to offer you any and all aid, including mine. Congratulations.
I had no idea you were interested in joining the Inquisition.
The assignment has been given to me, regardless of my personal interest. Celine knows you face an opponent who wields great magical power, which is far more important than her own curiosity. You will require my knowledge if you are to defeat such magic. Regardless, Corypheus is a threat to Orlais and to myself. Thus, I am not opposed to the appointment.
What skills do you have that would benefit us?
I have knowledge which falls beyond the realm of most mages. I suspect this is also true of Corypheus, thus it behooves you to add to your arcane arsenal, yes? Mundane knowledge will not bring the rift in the sky to a close, after all.
When you say knowledge beyond the realm of most mages, do you mean blood magic?
I know many obscure, forgotten, and forbidden arts. Some of it you might consider blood magic, yes? Should thought of that frighten you, allow me to offer reassurance. Knowledge alone does no harm. What I possess, I place at your disposal to make use of or ignore as you desire.
Welcome to the Inquisition, Morrigan.
A most gracious response. I shall meet you at Skyhold.
Is everything all right? You look troubled.
Things went according to plan for once. I couldn't be happier.
Tonight was a triumph. You should be proud. Is there anything I can do? Can I get you anything? A drink, perhaps?
Would you care to dance with me, Lady Josephine?
I would love to, my lady.
The matter is urgent, Lady Josephine.
I am well aware of that, revered mother.
We will need them to return to Val Royeaux as soon as possible. There are ceremonies, ordinations. Make us mercy.
That's quite impossible at the moment. However, I will see to this matter as soon as possible.
My Lady Inquisitor, please, may I have a word with you?
How may I assist you, revered mother?
With the political turmoil put to rest, our minds turn to a single question. The next divine. We cannot answer it without the left and right hands of Divine Justinia V.
I have already told you, revered mother. Lady Leliana and Seeker Cassandra cannot be spared from their duties.
But surely with the support of the Empire, the Inquisition will not be harmed by the loss of just 2 souls.
Why do you need Leliana and Cassandra?
They were Her Holiness's most trusted advisors. They represent her legacy, her hopes for peace in Thedas. They could rally the Grand Clerics to follow as no candidate from the clergy has been able to.
I don't understand. What is it you're asking of them?
We need them to serve as candidates for the role of Divine. Everyone with the political support to succeed Justinia perished alongside her. Those who remain are unable to gather the majority of votes from the conclave of Grand Clerics. They have been deadlocked for too long. Lady Leliana and Seeker Cassandra were Justinia's most trusted friends and advisors. Our late Divine is still held in high esteem. To honor her, the Grand Clerics might support one of them as successor.
How long does the Chantry need them?
Several months, at least. If one of them is crowned Divine, she would not be returning to the Inquisition.
Leliana and Cassandra would have to make that decision for themselves.
And they certainly will, at a later date. The Inquisitor has only just returned and has important business to attend to. You must excuse us, revered mother. Don't let them detract from your victory at Alam-Shiral. We've beaten his wardens and stopped his intrigues. Soon, Corypheus will have no place to hide. Cullen is hoping to press our advantage. We'll plan our next attack when you're ready.
I will prepare some flanking exercises.
Nightingale's eyes, with secret lives in their worth.
You know I've got no problem with Orlesians, but Alam-Shiral was a mess. At least under the Qun, you don't get everyone tripping on each other's dicks while the country goes to crap.
Nightingale's eyes, what will they find left behind? Craven master spy.
The politicking we saw at Alam-Shiral might seem pointless, but it's the beating heart of the Empire. The winner of the game is the one who best builds alliances, and controls what's discussed and what's decided.
So it rewards manipulation instead of rewarding the ability to get stuff done. I don't know. The Qun isn't perfect, but it doesn't care what any single person wants. Orlais is full of people who care about nothing else.
So free.
What do you mean?
Inquisitor.
Nightingale's eyes can free the tides.
One for the Empress. For Gaspar. Brianna. The Duchess. And Christopher's. Right in the dangle bag.
Well, remind me to stay on your good side.
Don't worry, you're sparkling compared to that lot. A cook here, a footman there. What's it matter, right, so long as there's a book for the throne? A pretty one, sure. But how many lives are worth one Empress's arse? Ugh, that place. Should have just thrown in some bees and slammed the doors.
I don't know. You want to stop a party? I think you go earwigs.
I hate those things, with their little pinchy butts. Josephine should add that to her paper threats. You know the real lesson from all this? Never sleep with an Empress. That, and Briala being an idiot. The whole thing would have gone different if that little piss-up wasn't in the middle.
That was a mistake on their part. It made everything worse.
Wrong way around, Inquisitor. It started worse. Lots of people died before there was a hole in the sky. That's who you're saving. If you get a chance, maybe remind them not to be idiots.
Will you not consider it, Lady Cassandra? The clerics are still sequestered. If no one steps forward, they will debate until...
And you think I could make them agree? I've heard enough for one day, Mother Giselle.
Talk to her, your worship.
The fun never ends in Skyhold, does it?
The Inquisitor was hilarious. That's what they'll say one day, you watch. I assume you've heard that Leliana and I are both candidates to be the next Divine. Because of what happened at Halam Shiral, of course, the Empire favors you. Thus everyone close to you. So now the Chantry bandies our names about without even asking us first.
How can you and Leliana be candidates? You're not even priests.
It's not without precedent. Amar III was sister to the Emperor, and Galatea a commoner. Leliana and I were, at least, part of the Chantry hierarchy. It would be accepted.
If they'll pick non-priests, why am I not a candidate?
Because you're a mage, first and foremost. If they name you a candidate, they may as well join the Tevinter Imperium. Truly, though, I imagine it's because they're frightened of you. A weight such as yours would break the Sunburst throne and tear the Chantry to pieces. I just don't know why they believe Leliana or I would be any better.
Why even consider it? Who cares about the Chantry?
I care. Surely it was never meant to be like this. The Chantry, the Circle of Magi, the Templars, this cannot be what they intended when it all began. The Chantry should provide faith, hope. Instead, it cannot veer from its course, even in the face of certain death.
I'm surprised to hear you of all people say that.
Oh? Am I not the same woman who declared the Inquisition against the Chantry's wishes? In all my years as a seeker, I did what I was told. My faith demanded it. But now my faith demands something else. That I see with better eyes.
If you're concerned, then make it better.
Did you know Varric is Andrastian? Oh, he blasphemes with every second breath, but deep down he believes. His heart is virtuous. But he would never step foot in a chantry. It should be the first place to which the virtuous turn. It needs to change. Perhaps I must be the one to change it.
You're not the only candidate. What about Leliana?
Leliana says she wishes to follow Justinia's legacy. But she and I remember a different person. Justinia knew her fellow clerics and the people would only accept so much change. Leliana would cast it all aside and start over, I think. And that would be chaos for us all.
What would you change about the Chantry?
The Circle of Magi has its place, but it needs reform. Let the mages govern themselves with our help. Let the Templars stand not as the jailers of mages, but as protectors of the innocent. We must be vigilant, but we must also be compassionate to all peoples of Thedas, human or no. That is what I would change.
I have influence, and I can use it to help the Chantry make up its mind.
I cannot ask you to do that.
You don't have to.
If you think that is the right thing to do, then thank you. I suppose I should not be so concerned. The clerics speak my name for now, nothing more. For now, restoring order and stopping Corypheus remain our priority.
How bracing to be in the thick of the game again. The last time I was at Alam-Shiral was Countess Letienne's wedding. There were a dozen affairs, 5 secret alliances, and a duel between 2 chevaliers over the vintage of an Antivan port. But until the Duchess was en masse, I've never seen the Winter Palace in shock.
You don't see the Empress of Orlais almost killed in cold blood every day.
Not so brazenly, no. The game's become increasingly insular in the past few years. Corypheus skillfully took advantage. It's disturbing so few people in the Orlesian court were aware of the Duchess's machinations.
You'd think the game's greatest players would spot a murderer in their midst.
As I said, insularity. Familiar rivals become the only ones worth sparring with. But let's not lose sight of victory. Your actions at the ball have secured us allies and favors alike.
My favorite moment of the evening is still our waltz in the garden.
I could have danced with you for hours. We must do it again sometime. I was hoping you'd be by. We've received letters from Archon Redanus of Tevinter and King Marcus of Nevada. For both monarchs to come to us is nearly unheard of.
Then the Inquisition's deeds have won their respect.
They'd never have contacted us otherwise. Archon Redanus requests that the Inquisition, as a neutral party, destroy a venatory cult on the Nevaran-Tevinter border. King Marcus asks the same, but demands we pledge allegiance to Nevara instead of Tevinter.
What sort of man is the King of Navarra?
At this point, elderly. Many fear his health will soon fail him. Still, he is a Pentagast. Their dynasty is exceptionally strong in Ibarra.
As a Pentagast, will Cassandra be upset if we don't help her relatives?
With all respect to Sigar Pentagast, her interest in politics is best described as thin.
Why is the ruler of Tevinter turning on the Venatori?
He has little reason to love them. Archon Redanos has rightly identified Corypheus as competition. Few monarchs relish a self-styled god showing up to claim their throne.
Tell me about Redanos.
Like most Tevinter rulers, he's heir to an ancient bloodline, politically shrewd, and a highly skilled mage. Rumor also claims he has an incredibly soft spot for cats.
What course of action would you take if you were in my place?
Strained as their relationship with Orlais is, I would assist the Imperium. Their friendship is difficult to win, and Marcus is a fading power. Tevinter is the longer, richer game.
Tell the Archon the Inquisition will do Tevinter the favor of wiping out the Venatori on its borders.
Very good, Inquisitor. We'll inform him at once.
I need to have a few words with my publisher. The first one will be you, and the second one will be Bastard. They've claimed for years my crime serials don't sell in Orlais. So why is the Council of Heralds asking me for autographs? Sorry, distracted. Anyway, you need something?
Tell me more about Bianca.
I'm not making any promises here. Ask.
All right, tell me the truth. Bianca made your crossbow, didn't she? I mean, it has her name.
It's not that simple. The Carta thinks my Bianca was a freak success by a Carta inventor who could never duplicate it. If they thought anyone else was involved, someone who could make one work, things would be bad. So, I really can't tell the story. I don't want any more blood on my hands.
What makes the Merchants Guild such a danger to her?
Well, to be fair, it's more of a danger to me. Technically, we're not supposed to be within 300 leagues of one another. If it got back to the Guild that we were seen together, they'd freeze my assets and then have me killed. Maybe not in that order.
What in the world did you do to cause that?
We almost started a clan war. Does it matter? I can't change it now.
How do you know Bianca? The lady, I mean, not the crossbow.
I met her years ago when she still lived in Kirkwall, and I was looking for someone with, mechanical skills. Bianca is, beyond a doubt, the most brilliant smith you'll ever meet. I haven't seen her since she got married and moved to Orlais.
Bianca is married. Somehow I thought the two of you had a history.
Bianca's family are Kalnas. Surface dwarves, so conservative they don't take a piss without asking the ancestors first. They picked out a smith caste boy for her. Wealthy, respected, has a great anvil collection. The perfect husband. I heard the wedding was lovely. The one Bianca actually showed up for, anyway.
So how long have the two of you been together?
Well, if you want to split hairs, we're not. Usually there's a continent between us at all times. We write letters. Now and then we manage to meet up. I don't know if that's, together. Shit, it's been what? 15 years? Great. Now I feel old. Thanks.
I guess that's it for now.
Sure. I'll be here.
First, this wasn't my idea. It is an issue born of titles and heir apparency and... Halam-Shiral is having difficulty freeing trade routes formerly controlled by Duchess Florian. Had she been tried, her assets would be forfeit and considerable bureaucracy avoided. So they ask that we judge her.
Are you serious? I did my part. She's dead.
That was the time allotted for rebuttal. Her crimes negated any claim to... Forgive me, there is an odor.
Strangely enough, something similar happened to an uncle of Emperor Leandra II. His trade routes were returned to the reigning monarch. Why don't we just follow suit?
A wise choice. Thank you for making it swiftly.
My dear, I'm afraid I must ask you for help. There is an alchemical formula that I must complete, but I have been unable to obtain a critical ingredient. The heart of a snowy wyvern. I had arranged to obtain one, but the chevaliers working with me were killed in the Civil War.
I'm not a hunter. Why do you think I can help?
This beast is not hunted for sport, as other wyverns sometimes are. It is far more deadly. In the past, chevaliers have been dispatched to either kill the creatures or drive them away from villages. Since my chevaliers have fallen to political conflict, I find myself in need of someone with a martial aptitude.
I didn't know you were an alchemist, Vivienne. What exactly is this project you're working on?
It is a special request from a member of the Council of Heralds. I am still the Imperial Court Enchanter, after all. The matter is private. That is all there is to say.
You want me to risk my life to get this thing for you, but you won't tell me what it's for.
My dear, it is hardly proper for me to blab the secrets of those who put trust in my discretion. I would do no less for you, after all.
If I'm going to hunt down a snowy wyvern, I need you to tell me everything you know about it.
They're quite rare and exceedingly dangerous. Their venom is the most potent of any wyvern. Ordinary hunters would not make the attempt. The risk is too great. You, my dear, would certainly be an equal to this monster.
I'll do what I can.
Thank you, my dear. I would be most grateful. I shall give the location of its lair to Cullen. Remember, my dear, I must have its heart, or the potion will not work. I eagerly await your success. Do you need something, my dear?
Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. You saved an empress, and now she's eating out of your hand. Perfect mental image. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick.
Happy to oblige. A taste of home, just for you.
Not just for me. Fun for the whole family.
Perhaps I should have invited some.
We were there. That's what counts. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating. You know where I'll be.
So it's true. Some look to Cassandra or even me as Justinia's successor. I never thought the idea would gain momentum. Of course, with the other candidates out of the picture...
Is becoming divine something you really want?
When Justinia was alive, I would have laughed at anyone who even suggested that I could be her successor. Things have changed. Still, I don't know. Restoring the Chantry will be like trying to steer a sinking vessel through a storm.
No one would fault you for abandoning ship, you know.
Out of the ship and straight into the sea. You think Thedas hates mages now? If the Chantry falls, don't you think the people will blame magic? Look at all that's happened. Kirkwall's Chantry, the war, the breach. Mages are always involved. Without the Chantry to guide, that hatred will spiral out of control.
It was the Chantry that taught people hate and fear.
If the Chantry led them to this place, it can lead them out of it. The people are sheep, Inquisitor. They need to follow. But this is a discussion for later. If Corypheus wins, finding a new divine will be the least of our problems.
There are spirits hovering by the veil to observe the thrones of powerful nations, the machinations, betrayals. After our time in Halam-Shiral, I understand why. I had forgotten how I missed court intrigue.
You miss court intrigue? When were you at court?
Oh, well, never directly, of course. An elven apostate is rarely invited to speak with empresses and kings. But from the Fade, I have watched dynasties form and empires crumble. It is sometimes savage, sometimes noble, and always fascinating. In any event, Selene should now be a steadfast ally, especially after helping her neutralize Briala.
I hope you know that I didn't turn over Briala lightly. If I'd had another option...
What? Why would I disapprove of... Oh, because we're both elves. I'm sorry, I was confused. I do not consider myself to have much in common with the elves.
Your people have lost so much of their history and culture. Do not even think of yourself that way.
I think of myself as me. That's all I've ever needed. I joined the Inquisition to save the world. Regardless of who my people are, this was the best way to help them. As for the elves of Orlais, Briala did what she could. She was an admirable woman, even if her gambit failed.
Even if we couldn't help Briala, I hope we can make life better for Orlesian elves.
Stop Corypheus. That will do for a start. It speaks well of you to feel for the oppressed. Help them for that. Know them for what they are, instead of just seeing a pair of pointed ears.
I'd be perfectly happy never again setting foot in the Winter Palace. It wasn't the gossip and backstabbing, I know what the game entails, but the indifference to it all.
Showing interest reveals weakness. Something nobles are quick to exploit.
No doubt you're right. The Chantry can be the same. Their politics are less extravagant, but just as heated. The Empress rules a country. The Divine influences half a continent. I'm sure you have other matters to attend.
Maker and Lady. Corypheus is taking the lot of them apart.
The Inquisition is on its tail. That thing is a coward, even if it's lots of places.
Wardens and Halim-Sharal? They're supposed to be our best. That's what they always said.
That's what the nobles say. Wardens don't say anything. They just go to work.
A lot of good it did them.
Nothing? Oh, my Maker, you cannot imagine how many letters I've received about the fracas at Halim-Sharal. Fortunately, you tied twice as many threads as cut, although it is yet bewildering at the center.
There are problems coming out of Halim-Sharal.
There are always problems from Halim-Sharal. We've lost a few contracts, but more than made up for it. Although, if a few commendations were given, it might retie some severed threads. I couldn't suggest how. That is better decided at your war table, and I'm not going near that thing. Goodbye, Your Worship.
I see.
I didn't understand the Grand Ball. It would have been easier if they said what they wanted.
What did you think of the masks?
What masks?
The masks. Everyone had them on their faces.
Those weren't their faces.
May I ask how things are, now that you're more human?
I'll try.
Can you still help people if you can't make them forget?
It's harder. I can't start over if I do it wrong. But seeing me changes them. They know a person wants them to hurt less. That helps.
You're still able to sense the feelings of others, aren't you?
Yes, I still feel things, flashes of their minds. Pain, hurt, all of it. It's not so loud anymore. I make more noise myself, so I don't hear as much unless I want to. I remember more things, though. It lets me learn. I sometimes see why something I said would bother Cullen. Maybe I'll do it less.
Are you still physically the same, or are you fully human?
I was always fully human. I can do everything I could do before, except make people forget. The way I move comes from my mind, not my body. As long as I remember some of the Fade, it remains. My body is just like the real Cole's. Except that he was a mage. I'm not.
Why aren't you a mage?
I can't know for sure, but the real Cole, his father beat him, killed his mother. His sister might have died, too. I don't know if that was real or what the demon made me think. Then the Templars threw Cole in darkness and starved him, all because he had magic. He thought that if he didn't have magic, I'm what he wanted to be. Him, but normal. So no one would hurt him.
Why can't you make people forget you anymore?
Because I'm real. The forgetting was for both sides. They weren't frightened by me, and I wasn't hurt by them. Making people forget was a defense against people attacking me, and having what they saw in me stick. Because I'm real, everything sticks. Whatever people think or feel about me stays.
What's the difference between you and a spirit now?
Spirits are... they just are. Most of them sense something that interests them and stick to it. They don't remember much. It keeps them pure, but it also keeps them from learning, from growing. I wanted to help people, but I only knew enough to do it in the simplest way. Now I can see more. I also want to hit people a lot. Varric is helping with that.
I'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
If you require any assistance.
I can't make heads or tails of this. Age regression, who is this potion for?
What can I do for you, my dear? Is it too much to hope that you've brought me the heart of the snowy wyvern?
If you want the wyvern's heart, you'll have to tell me what you're using it for.
I can do better, darling. Give me the heart, and I'll show you what it's for. Will that suffice?
All right. One heart, as requested.
How kind of you. Please accept this as your payment. I must begin work immediately. You have been a dear friend, and I would like you to come with me. This should only take a moment, Inquisitor. I'm here, my darling.
Vivienne,
Yes, darling.
it's going to be all right, my love.
My darling? Bastien?
Vivienne, I'm sorry.
There's nothing here now. Bastien is dead. I can hardly believe. It was the Wintersend Ball. My first visit to the Imperial Palace. The Circle sent a dozen of us to entertain the nobility. I was in awe of everyone and everything, and then our eyes met. Bastien spent the entire ball at my side. The Dowager tried to have him killed for slighting her, but he didn't care.
Obviously he was smitten. But what did you think of him?
He was a dashing rogue, and any defects he might have had were made up for with rank and importance. It was a more innocent time, I suppose. And now he's gone, and I must write to his son Laurent. And his sister will make a terrible fuss if she isn't informed first. And I'll need to arrange for the chantry services. Maker only knows how long that will take.
If I can help you, just say the word.
No, my dear. I'll handle everything. Excuse me, I have so much to do.
There you are. I've been looking all over for you. I've just received the most terrible news.
What is it?
I'm engaged.
When did this happen?
For the past year, my mother and father has searched Antiva for a match for me. They had no idea you and I had grown so close. Today, I received a letter declaring they've betrothed me to Lord Adorno Cielo Tranto of Antiva. I must deal with this. But until then, we cannot be seen in a compromising situation. I'm so sorry.
Are you saying we should act like nothing's happened between us?
No, not at all. But it is not right that we carry on while I am betrothed. I must break off the match first.
Have you and this Antivan lord ever even met?
No. Perhaps, maybe at a cotillion some years ago. Oh, this is not what I wanted to happen. I barely remember Lord Otranto. I must see to this. And to my other duties. If I can keep my mind on them today at all. Inquisitor, I'm afraid untangling my engagement to Lord Otranto will take some time.
Is there anything I can do?
He is Antivan. The only acceptable thing to do would be to challenge him to a duel for my favor.
Every family has scandals. I'll find something to persuade Otranto to break off the match.
Please, Inquisitor, no. If Otranto found out, he'd challenge you to a duel. The traditional form of dueling among Antiva nobles isn't usually fatal, but there's always a chance of harm. I hardly wish to see you skewered on a sword point for the sake of my honor.
It's time to plan our next attack. What's the state of the Inquisition?
We're well loved in Orlais. Say the words and Empress Celine will send her support.
And your actions at Adamant denied Corypheus his army of pet demons. With Orlais' support, our numbers match his. Corypheus's followers must be panicking.
My agents agree. Our victories have shaken his disciples.
Perhaps they'll rethink following the Darkspawn Magister from the dawn of time. Where is Corypheus now?
After you dealt with the Duchess, Corypheus uprooted his major strongholds. He's moving south to the Arbor Wilds. His army clearly wasn't prepared to flee. Our victories have them on the defensive.
We strike Corypheus now, while his people are reeling. If he's hiding in the Arbor Wilds, that's where we finish him.
But what is Corypheus doing in such a remote area?
His people have been ransacking elven ruins since Haven. We believe he seeks more. What he hopes to find, however, continues to elude us.
Which should surprise no one. Fortunately, I can assist.
You have my attention, Lady Morrigan.
What Corypheus seeks in those Forgotten Woods is as ancient as it is dangerous.
Which is?
'Tis best if I show you. This is an Illuvian, an elven artifact from a time long before their empire was lost to human greed. I restored this one at great cost, but another lies within the Arbor Wilds. That is what Corypheus seeks.
This belonged to my people.
I found legends of an elven temple within the Arbor Wilds, untouched. It proved too dangerous to approach, and thus I turned elsewhere to find my prize. If Corypheus has turned southward, he could succeed where I failed. The Illuvian would be his.
What does it do?
A more appropriate question would be, where does it lead? If this place once had a name, it has long been lost. I call it the Crossroads, a place where all Illuvians join, wherever they might be.
This place is extraordinary. How could this even exist?
Who can say? Formed from the fabric of time and space, perhaps. The ancient elves left no roads, only ruins hidden in far-flung corners. This is how they traveled between them. As you can see, most of the mirrors are dark, broken, corrupted, or unusable. As for the rest, a few can be opened from this side, but only a few.
What do you mean, a few can be opened from this side?
Some of the alluvians have been left unlocked, like doors accidentally left ajar. All others are closed. They can be opened only from beyond.
Opened how?
With a key.
I suppose you have such a key.
The key can be many things. Each alluvian is different. I have knowledge as well as power. Often that is enough.
How did you find out about this place?
My travels have led me to many strange destinations, Inquisitor. Once, they led me here. It offered sanctuary.
Sanctuary?
Not all the mirrors lead back to our world. The ancients were nothing if not resourceful.
If they don't lead back to our world, then...
Places between, like this one. I can describe it no better. For a time, I was safe from those who hunted me, but only for a time. One cannot remain in between forever.
Corypheus wants to come here.
This is not the Fade, but it is very close. Someone with enough power could tear down the ancient barriers.
And enter the Fade in the flesh, like Corypheus wanted to do with the Anchor.
He learned of the Alluvian in the Arbor Wilds as I did. He marshals the last of his forces to reach it. You have made Corypheus desperate, Inquisitor. We must work together to stop him, and soon.